Welcome UCL fans to the third part of my team analysis videos for the United Championship League. My name is Nintendo Fanatic 64. I have been crunching numbers unofficially for the UCL since week 1. I've been doing ranking systems, reviews of all the matches, and I've decided to go ahead and do analysis now of the teams. I've done, in my first two parts, I have done the analysis for the teams that were ranked 16 through 13, and of course 12 through 8, or 12 through 9 I should say. And this time around, I'm going to go ahead and be doing the teams that are ranked 8th through 5th. Now, the rankings that I have are, of course, my own personal rankings that I've come up with. I give each team a score based upon how well they do in a match. They get 1 point every time they knock out an opponent's Pokemon. They lose a point whenever one of their own Pokemon has been defeated. Now, they do not earn points if an opponent's Pokemon gets knocked out due to Life Orb damage, recoil, some type of explosion, or self-destruct type of thing. Those do not count as points for teams. So, we're going to go ahead, hop right in. We have to the 8th ranked team right now we're starting with, which is the Pittsburgh Pichus. Pittsburgh Pichus currently have a record of 4-4 with a score of +4 or just 4. The Pokemon that they have drafted, starting with the OU tier, is Latios, Excadrill, and Keldeo. Then from the UU tier, they have Entei, Mega Beedrill, and Shaman. There's more stuff with the Mega Beedrill, but I'll get to more of that in a moment. From RU, we have Rhyperior, Electros, and Alomomola. And then finally, from the NU tier, Uxie, Rotom, and Mawile. Now, with the Mega Beedrill, as you can see, it was traded week 4, but then it was traded back to the Pittsburgh Pichus on week 6, or after week 6 for it. It was traded for the Mega Houndoom, which was only used in one battle, in the week 6 battle that he had, and it worked out well because it managed to knock out 5 Pokemon in that single week for it, or the one single week that it was actually in use for Pittsburgh. Other Pokemon that have actually been putting in work for the Pittsburgh Pichus, of course, has been Entei, who has 14 knockouts this season, has died 6 times, but I believe almost half of that time has been due to its own fault, or at least a third of it, from recoil damage due to Flare Blitz on it. So, it hasn't been knocked out by other opponents, it's just knocked itself out. Other big mons that have been used a lot, of course, Keldeo with 7 knockouts so far this season, Electros and Alomomola with 4 each on it. Overall, pretty decent team. I expect good things for the Pichus for the rest of the season. They have a good chance at trying to make the top 4. I mean, the only Pokemon they haven't brought has been the Rotom and the Mawile. Majority of teams I've been noticing don't really bring too many of their NU mons. They do sometimes bring them, and sometimes people have been really dominating with some of their lower tier mons. As you can see, Entei is a UU mon, but has probably like the 3rd highest kill ratio of the UCL so far. And that's Pittsburgh. They were ranked 8th. Moving on to the 7th ranked team, we have the Tulsa Talonflames. Let me switch over to this side. Tulsa Talonflames' current record is 5-3 with a score of 4. Pokemon they've drafted, starting with the OU tier, has been Heatran, Ferrothorn, and Latias. From the UU tier is Galvantula, Salamence, and Houndoom, which of course was traded in week 4 and traded back on week 6. From RU, there's the Jellicent, Virizion, and Seismitoad. And then finally, in the NU tier, Liepard, Muck, and Dusknoir. Tulsa Talonflames have been really... It's one of those teams, when I first saw them, I was like, I'm not too sure if they're going to do all that well. You know, they kind of lost, I think, like in the first week or 2 on it. And then, since then, have just been really skyrocketing themselves up the rankings a lot. The Salamence and the Latias have been putting in nothing but great work. I mean, the Salamence, again, you know, tied with the Entei for like the most number of kills this season at 14. Latias also doing double-digit kills on it. Has been really doing great work with, you know, Ferrothorn, and those have really been the ones that she's used the most to take out the opponents. still puts in work with other ones. Seismitoad with a couple kills this season. The Mega Houndoom got a kill before it was traded, and then 2 more after it came back. Galvantula got a kill this season. Ferrothorn with 3 kills. I mean, again, this team surprised me more than anything else, but has been doing great work, and I hope, you know, when it comes down to it, like, I have a good, you know, I would not be surprised if this team makes it into the playoffs as well. So, I mean, we're getting down to those teams now that, like, all these teams have a really good chance at making it. It just really depends on who they go up against, as well as, you know, how the rest of the other teams do, of course. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the 6th-ranked team. We have the New York Yankees. Record is 5-3 right now with a score of 8. Pokemon that they have drafted, of course, from the OU tier starting off, we have the Landorus Therian, we have Mew, we have Mega Pinsir, then they have Milotic, Infernape, and Blissey from the UU tier, Jolteon, Stuntank, and Shiftry from the RU tier, and then finally from the NU tier, the Granbull, Girder, and Regirock. Most used mons that have, like, you know, most used mons that we've seen so far, we have the Landorus Therian, Mew, Milotic, Infernape, and Jolteon. Those have been probably brought more, those are, as you can see, they've been brought more than any other mon on here. The Jolteon, I think, has been doing surprisingly the most work out of the entire team. Not saying the rest of the team wasn't doing good as well, but I mean, the fact that it has been brought 6 times, it's had 11 knockouts, and only died half the time it's been brought. And then same, you know, with the Infernape. It's had 10 knockouts. It's died 4 times, been in 7 battles. I mean, it's been doing really well. Mew has been brought every week, and I don't think he's ever used the same setup twice for Mew. He's changing it up every single week, and because Mew is just one of those Pokemon, it's so versatile. You can run it any way you want because it can learn every single move out there. You know, hasn't brought Girder yet this season, but at the same time, hasn't really had much need for it either with everything else that's been going on. I mean, the New York Yankees week 1, if you didn't see it, actually swept the South Beach Slow Kings 6-0. And that was just, you know, a great start to the season. You know, they were ranked 1 at the beginning of it. They kind of fell off a little bit, had a couple losses shortly after that, but have really been picking it up. The coach on Twitter was referred to as Brock Lesnar one time, just because the New York Yankees have actually ended not 1 but 2 winning streaks in the UCL. The first one came at the hands of the Tucson Terrakions, who went into the week at 5-1, and then the following week had to take on the Tucson Terrakions were 5-0, made them 5-1 at the end of that week. The next week they had to take on the Bronx Beartics, who were 6-1 going into the week, and he managed to defeat them as well. So ended 2 winning streaks back to back. I mean, deserves to be up here as a good, you know, again, another team that, you know, has a really high chance of still making it into the playoffs, despite, you know, having, you know, kind of a rough, you know, started strong, had a rough middle, and has been coming back strong ever since. You know, again, I'm trying to be biased. I have a good feeling the Yankees probably make the playoffs. So, but again, it all depends on how well all these other teams too. I mean, I can make predictions, but it all depends on how well these teams play. So, we're going to go ahead now and move on to the 5th-ranked team, which is the Durham Druddigons. Also with a record of 5-3, so as you can see, the Durham Druddigons, the Tulsa Talonflames, and the New York Yankees all have 5-3, but of course the score is what makes the difference on them. Durham Druddigons, they have 5-3, score of 9. The Pokemon that they've drafted. They started off with the OU, Mega Charizard X, Azumarill, Thundurus. Moved on to the UU with Cresselia, Gligar, and Mienshao. RU tier with the Rotom or Cut, however you want to go about that. The Drapion and the Braviary. And then finally in the NU tier, Miltank, Tauros, and Lantern. The Durham Druddigons are a really clever team. For the last several weeks that I've been watching battles with them, they have been using a lot of stall tactic, which has been working in their favor. Coaches that they've gone up against have not been quite happy with it. They just want the mons to die, and then they just don't die. It can be very frustrating if you're a coach having to go up against it. The Milk Tank with Milk Drink and Heal Bell, so nothing ever seems to die. The Mega Charizard X, usually with Flare Blitz and Roost. Cresselia using Moonlight. I mean, he has a lot of recovery on his team, and they just don't ever seem to want to die that often. And as you can see, they can actually do the damage as well. Mega Charizard X didn't bring it, has brought it all but 1 week so far. Has managed to get 15 knockouts this season. It's currently tied, I believe, for first with another Pokemon that also has 15 knockouts this season right now. Cresselia, 3 and 4, not too bad. The Drapion made a real impressive. I think it was either this last week or the week before. Brought it up to 9 and 2 out of 4 battles. Surprisingly, I think this is the only team that has not actually used all of their UU Mons. Mienshao, as you can see, has not yet been in battle, and who knows when it will be, if it ever will be. I mean, he hasn't really, like, he's been using a lot of the same Mons as of late. He's been using the Mega Charizard X most weeks, the Cresselia most weeks, Milk Tank most weeks, and then he switches it up with whoever the final 3 ones are. But those 3 are usually the core to his battle strategy. I mean, he's only lost the 3 times, and I can assure you any team that he's battled has, been really frustrated. His first loss came to the Tucson Terrakions. I think it was week 4. It was either week 4 or 5, I can't remember. And it came down to, like, the timer. The timer is what ended up costing him the win in that battle. He was down to 3 and 3, and all it was recovering, Heal Bell, Curse, Body Slam. That was the set he ran on his Milk Tank, and it just wouldn't die. He ended up sacking off his Cresselia to a Lunar Dance to fully heal off the Milk Tank at the end of the timer, but because of that, he then officially lost in a 3-2 match. I know on his end he probably wasn't happy. He thought it should have been a tie, but the game awarded it to the Tucson Terrakions that week, and that was that ended his winning streak as well. It was, a very long battle. Sitting there and watching it was over an hour long, I think, from either way you look at it, because most battles can only go an hour long. The stall tactic can be an annoying one, but it's working with him right now, and most coaches, I don't think, know how to prepare properly for it. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, he could easily stall his way right into the playoffs in 7 weeks. So, but we still have, like I said, 7 weeks to go. Anything can happen at this point. So he could win, or he could end up, really having a bad couple of weeks, which I don't foresee happening due to how bulky his team is. But teams with bulk, not always the greatest. Go back to the team that's ranked the lowest. They have a lot of bulky Mons, but they're just not winning anything with them. So this is a good balance between the bulk and the attack strength. And I'd be surprised if they don't make the playoffs, but I mean, it's still, at this point, it's anyone's game. Any of the teams in this top half, from the Pittsburgh Pichus up to the Durham Druddigons, and then the next 4, which will be in the next part of this video series, all have great chances of making the playoffs. It just really will come down to how well they play, I feel. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here, and we're going to come back tomorrow, which, if I'm planning this out, I'll probably have this will probably be this video will hopefully be uploaded on Friday, and I'll also have the last part of this uploaded a couple hours after this as well. So but like I said, I'm going to wrap this up here, and I will see you all in a little bit. And don't forget as well, if you're enjoying the series, leave it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, tell me the teams you're rooting for, and then don't forget, every Tuesday I do a review and rankings video on the UCL as well. So, but I will see you all next time. Take care.